Hey everyone, RemanX here, and we're going to start talking about my final answer for Gamma's ISOs. You're not going to like it because it's going to come down to a lot of speculation and a lot of warnings about the team, and really kind of a breakdown of what to expect. So I was lucky enough to score in the top 50 and get my 5 red Hulk at 7-star. But now that I'm the #1 free-to-play player in all of Marvel Strike Force, that'll be a little harder. Inside joke, follow me on Twitch and you'll get it. Just have a little fun. Obviously not free to play except for the past 2 weeks. All that being said, the ones I have equipped, I'm not 100% confident in, because I think the problem with the mirror match is it comes down to power levels and placement. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna talk about right now what I have for placement, and we're gonna talk about why there's different placement options for the team. And I think when it comes down to your ISO selection, you have to decide how your Alliance wants you to use them. Mostly they're going to be used as a war offense team. You might be using them as a war defense team. And then you're going to have to figure out how they're going to work best when Apocalypse shows up. And then finally, if you're going to use them as a flex team anywhere else. So let's start with the basics here. First things first. Mirror match I've come pretty proficient at. I recommend that you use practice mode in your carrier when you're when your wars are off. To practice it, have somebody with the biggest one set it, and then figure out what your alliance is most comfortable with positioning. So my positioning currently puts Hulk off over here and She-Hulk off over here, where you're gonna find Red Hulk gets hit the predominance of the time. The reason is that splash damage is gonna trigger his ult faster. So his passive basically gives him extra 2 energy when he gets hit, and extra 1 energy, which means he gets sped up, does his ult, and puts that battlefield effect. Now, so the way that this works is, this is the war offense setup. Now, if your opponent has him on the outside, like if he's on the outside, this will work more frequently than if he has him on the inside. If he has them on the inside, you may want to try to control when your Hulk goes. The 2 biggest components of this fight I have found are the striker on the enemy Hulk, whether or not they have striker, and whether or not you have higher red stars on your Hulk. Realistically, the early part of the fight is just Hulk on Hulk action. You know, the 2 big green giants over there, pun intended, because he looks like, you know, he's been cast for, you know, the Lollipop Gang. It's these 2 green giants slugging it out in a slugfest. And so the problem that you face is, can you kill their Hulk before the enemy Hulk explodes and kills your Hulk? Realistically, that's what you're going to be looking at, and that's why he's a striker. So the idea behind it was we wanted characters that could mark multiple targets, which is why, in the grand scheme of things, both these characters go first. We look at A-Bomb and Hulk. So that's why they're both Raiders, is for marking and enabling the striker on Hulk. Now, what I will tell you is the blue ISO striker is probably labeled a little bit incorrectly here. Let's back out of this. And we'll show you guys this, because this will kind of help you understand why some of this is changing. Or I'm sorry, blue striker, blue ISO Raider is mislabeled. So realistically, skirmishers are the only one who put 2 on a primary attack. And when I say two, there's 2 stacks of vulnerable. So the way that Raider is written, we're going to move my fat head here in a second. Through the magic of technology, we're going to... No, that didn't work. All right, the magic of technology, we're going to remove myself here, and you'll see that I have... So you can now see the description over here. So the way that this looks is apply +1 vulnerable, maximum 5, gain 20% damage. Okay? You would think that it would be a +1 for a total of 2. It's actually going to be... It's actually this line, apply +1 up to a maximum of 5. So Raider at level 5 will only ever apply 1 stack, and that's actually one of the reasons why I was never locked in. If it did 2 stacks, it would be a no-brainer. Okay? That would be the big difference. That's the problem with this, is there's some flexibility here. And that means I probably recommend not T4ing it until we see the rest of the Apocalypse team show up. Once Death makes his appearance, we get the speed, understand the turn order, and how they're going to synergize with each other, even without Apocalypse. We're probably gonna make that final ISO recommendation. So I encourage you to take a look at this, and my recommendation is Raider. And again, the biggest readers on Raider is you want to specifically, like if you're going up against Stormhold, you want to make sure you're triggering abilities early and often, applying that defense down and doing the extra damage. You're going to make sure that if they can go stealth, they will go stealth, and then Red Hulk just destroys them. The same thing with Braun as Striker. If he's a healer, it winds up being the same effect as him as a striker, applying that regeneration back into the system. They don't really benefit from heals in a mirror match, which is the problem that we've had recommending anybody for healer except on defense. Now, the problem with defense is, with all healers, is if you go first, you can shut them out of heals even being an option. You just have to do your target priority. And typically it's finish off Red Hulk, so kill Hulk, because it's just going to be, you're not going to be able to get through him right away. Kill Hulk, finish off Red Hulk, finish off Braun. Now remember, one thing that people forget, one of the most important T4s on this team is pavement puddle. Pummel. Pavement pummel. Yes, it's a puddle. When you see a Red Hulk, you will leave a puddle of urine behind when he's throwing a rock at you, right? And that's why you slow down, because it actually rewinds the speed bar by 10%. That speed bar rewind is part of the key to this team making it work. So, pavement pummel is a must T4 in my opinion. Make sure you don't skip out on that. Otherwise, you're going to lose 90% of your mirror matches when the enemy Hulk starts going first. So you've got a window of about 6 attacks before you can trigger the enemy Hulk if they put him on the end. If they position him like you do and they're adjacent to Red Hulk and She-Hulk, I've almost considered putting him on the outside, and I practiced this a little bit and had somewhat more consistent results when they're on the inside, to let them go first and then let my Hulk get enabled. So that's where we are with that. Next piece of the puzzle is, Rem, I've already made some decisions. Well, here's the best part. You could have a skirmisher on Abomination and it's not going to affect too much. Remember, depending on how you set up, he's going to often be, it's a coin toss whether or not he goes into immunity. He is likely going to flip a buff on when he takes a turn. So he could be flipping their immunity into disrupt. So just be aware of that. When you're facing an enemy team, just be aware if that's the only buff you have. It's getting flipped. Braun's ISO attack is decent. She-Hulk's ISO with the defense down was kind of cool, but realistically, I think having her be able to toss the enemy or your debuffs back at the enemy and having them be able to stick with her focus problems far outweighed the options in that category. Plus, you may want to get that key stun on a character that does have defense down. Final piece of the puzzle is Hulk, Raider, or Striker. There's definitely a thing to justify for Striker. However, in 100+ tests, I think I may have flipped the taunt once on Major Hulk, on Baby Green Hulk. And so what that means is Striker would only really become that necessary if the bleeds were impactful. The way that the battlefield bleeds have is they don't tick until the turn after he ults, and the enemy's already taken a turn. So it's far less impactful than you think it is, especially if you're rewinding them. They may not take a turn in the time where it's actually powerful. You need to practice the mirror match. This is a lot like BO. When you do certain abilities, it's going to matter. It's going to matter as far as turn order. And you're going to see a lot more gameplay coming up here. We have quite a few captured. We're going to try to give you guys additional, if this, then this, so you understand how to play it when there's different positioning in the mirror match. So that's something that right now I'm working on, gathering that information, gathering a whole bunch of videos, so I can definitely help you guys out. This is, if we could take away this frustration right now on defense, because by the way, I really wish they didn't put this on defense. It would be a better overall option. But now that our opponents are putting them on defense, you're going to have to practice the mirror match to be able to be successful. Remember, guys, I do things so you don't have to. Week 2, #1 free to play, all of MSF.